Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in today's tutorial we'll be basically learning how to cut this straight dress that you see on my thumbnail that has a front slit and the upper side is a wrap top with a trumpet sleeve. If this is a video you're interested in, keep on watching, and if this is your first time turning into this channel, please don't forget to like our videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also turn on your notification bell to be notified whenever we post a new video. So technically for this video, I will actually be making use of this material that you see here. I have about 4 yards of Ankara over here, and this is the lining piece that I'll be using to turn this off. So the first thing we are going to go ahead and do is to fold our fabric so that we can cut out our back skirt first. So technically, after folding my material into two, we are going to actually check if the length of this Ankara can actually do the full length of this dress. So for the length of your gown, we are going to be subtracting the upper bodice, or the half length. The half length is from your shoulder to your waist measurement. So from the shoulder to the waist measurement, I'm working with 16 inches. I'll just go ahead and place 16 inches at the tip of this fabric we have here. Now the full length of this gown is 60 inches. I'll just go ahead and check if it is up to 60 inches. Okay, we have up to 60 inches here. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark our starting line. So this will be serving as our starting line. Now, after marking that, since we are cutting the back skirt first, from this edge, now since it's the back skirt, you can actually start your measurement from any side, whether the open side or the folded side, because at the end of the day, it's going to be splitted open. Now, the first thing I'm just going to go ahead and do now is to mark 2 inches all the way down to the full length of this dress. Now the purpose of these 2 inches, if you've watched my tutorial on how to draft a basic skirt, you actually know that these 2 inches, 1 inch will be serving as our zip allowance, zip contouring, while the other one will be serving as our ass sitting. So I'll go ahead and mark these 2 inches all the way down to the full length of this dress. Then after marking the 2 inch, I'll also go ahead and divide it into 1 inch all the way down to the dress. So technically, after I went ahead to mark the 2 inches, just like I told you earlier, and divide this 2 inch here, I have 1 inch in each column. Now the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do now is to, from this starting line, to place your waist measurement on your waistline, mark your hip line, which is 26 inches, and the knee line, which is 37 inches, or you can choose to take your measurement just the normal way you take your skirt measurement. So I'll just go ahead and use this second method. This is 16 inches, our half length. The hip length is 26 inches. Now the knee length that we are working with is 29 inches. So I'll just go ahead, 39 inches. I'll just go ahead and mark 39 inches. Now basically after that, I'm going to go ahead and impute our round measurement. Now the round waist that I'm working with is 32 inches. 32 inches divided by 2 is actually 8 inches. Now from this first line that we have here, that's the 2 inch, not from this edge, I'll be taking the round measurement. Now from here, I'm going to go ahead and mark 8 inches all the way down here, and I'll be adding extra 3 inch sewing allowance. Now on the hip line, I'll divide my hip into 4. The round hip is 42 inches. 42 inches divided by 2 is 10.5. So I'll place my tape from this point. I'll go ahead and mark 10.5 inches, after which I'll add extra 3 inch sewing allowance. Now for the round knee, just make sure you measure the round knee and make it convenient for whoever you're working with to be able to walk while on the dress. So the round knee that I'm making use of is 38 inches. Now remember, this is going to be a pencil skirt. The down part is going to be pencil, so I'll just go ahead and divide 38 inches into 2, and I have 9.5. Now on this knee length, I'm just going to go ahead and mark 9.5 inches plus extra 3-inch allowance that we added earlier. So at this point, I'm going to, whatever I have at this knee line, I'm just going to go ahead and extend it at the hem or the full line of our skirt. So after marking that down, I'm going to go ahead and use my curve ruler to actually connect these lines. After connecting this curvy line, this is technically what it is looking like. Now the next thing I'm just going to go ahead is to go over to the zip contouring and the ass sitting. Now this first line that we have over here is our ass sitting, while the second line is the zip contouring. So for this zip contouring and ass sitting, since this is a dress, I'm just going to go ahead on this hip line. I'll come down by 1 inch and mark it at this zip contouring and ass sitting line. Now if it is just a skirt that you're making with this pattern, there's no need of coming down. Any measurement that we are taking here, you do it directly on your hip line measurement. So I went down by 1 inches because it is a dress, and the reason being that we'll be actually attaching this to a upper body, so definitely the measurement to be shortening. So after that, I'm just going to go ahead on this zip contouring line. I'm just going from this line, I'm just going to come in by 1/2 inch. I'll come in by 1/2 inch on this point. Then on this new 1-inch line that I marked here, just like you see on the ass sitting line, I'll come out by 1/2 inch. Now I'll go again. I came in here from this line by 1/2 inch, and I came out from this second line by 1/2 inch. Now the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to connect this 1/2 inch and this 1/2 inch together using my straight ruler. Now after connecting it, I'll join this 1/2 inch back into our knee measurement. Just watch the way I'm going to place it. You make sure that the 1/2 inch enters back into this second line that you see over here. So technically this is it for our ass sitting. Now that is that for the back side. Now since this is a dress, from this upper part, which is serving as our waistline, at this zip contouring part, I'm just going to go ahead and come down by 1 inch. Now this 1 inch also helps to remove any kind of zip bulging. So from this 1 inch that I marked here, I'm going to connect it back all the way to the starting point of this our waistline, just like you see me do here. So after that, the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do is to cut this off. After cutting this off, this is basically what we have left, as you can see. Now you're going to go ahead and make sure you notch this zipper area so as not to get confused on which part is your side measurement and your zipper allowance, because almost the sides looks alike. So just make sure you notch up this area, and we'll be actually applying our dart directly on this piece. So we are going to go ahead and fold this together and also refold our fabric into 2 to cut out the front area. So basically I went ahead to fold my fabric into 2 again for our front piece, just like you see me do here. Now I'm just going to go ahead and open up the piece that we have here. Now there's no need of actually redoing the measurement we have. The only thing I'll be doing for this back piece to be able to use it to cut our front piece is to go ahead and fold in. I'm going to fold in from this line. I don't know if you can see. I will fold in from this line that we have here all the way down to the full length of this dress, just like you see me do like this. And I'm going to go ahead and use my pin to pin it down. So it's just like we are putting the zipper allowance inside our dress to be able to cut the front piece. So I'm just going to do it all the way down to the full length of this dress. Now, after I went ahead to fold in the 1 inch, this is what the inside is looking like, and on the other side it is already looking like a front skirt. So I'm just going to go ahead and place it on this piece that we have here. Now make sure that this second piece that you folded for your front piece is actually on a folded pass, because it's not going to be open, it's just the same. So I'll just make sure that this end of this back piece is actually corresponding with this piece that we folded. So now remember that we already subtracted 1 inch away from our back waistline. So the only thing I'm just going to go ahead to replace the 1 inch that we removed for the front line is to go up by 1 inch, just like you see me do here. Then I'll connect it back all the way down to this starting waistline that we have. It's just like replacing what we removed earlier. So this is actually it. Now I'm just going to go ahead and pin this down all the way to our front piece so that it doesn't move from where we keep it. And after that, I'll go ahead and cut out the sides. After cutting out the back piece and the front piece, this is actually what it's looking like. I'm just going to go ahead and unpin this back piece away from the front piece so that we'll see what our front side is looking like. So this is the front piece of our skirt, and the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do now is to notch the center of this skirt. So I've notched the center. Now remember that this skirt has a slit. So we are now going to go ahead and work on the slitted area of this skirt. Now I'm just going to go ahead and open up this skirt. Now you can go ahead and iron the center part before opening it up, so that you can be able to identify the center part of your skirt. But for me, I think I'm actually seeing the line. So the next thing I'm actually going to go ahead and do is from the center of the skirt, I'm going to divide the nipple to nipple measurement that I'm working with, which is 8 inches into 2. Now when I divide 8 inches into 2, I'll be left with 4 inches. So from this center part, I'll go ahead and mark 4 inches. Now this 4 inches, I'm going to mark it all the way down to the end of this skirt, starting from the center part. I'm just going to go ahead and reopening it because I folded it back to be able to get the center, because I did not iron it. So I'm just going to go ahead and open this line that we have of the 4 inches. So that is basically where our slit will be starting from. After opening this skirt area, as you can see, this is what it is looking like. This is the side and this is the other side. So I'm just going to go ahead and place this aside, because we'll be cutting out our lining with this front and back pieces that we have. So going ahead to cut out the upper body of this dress that we are making, I just went ahead to cut out this piece. Now the length of this piece is my half length. That's from my shoulder to my waistline. So I'm working with 16 inches, but I have 17 inches here. So I'll just go ahead and mark about half of an inch that will be serving as my shoulder line or as my starting line, just as you can see. So from this shoulder line, I'm just going to go ahead. We are drafting the back piece first. So this is the back piece of the upper body. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark 1 inch all the way down to the full length of this top, because this 1 inch will be serving for our zipper allowance. So technically, after marking out the 1 inch, this is what we are left with. So any other measurement that we'll be taking from will not be starting from this point. It will be starting from this zipper allowance line that we have. So I'll just go ahead and divide my shoulder into 2. I'm working with shoulder 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8 inches. From this line, I'll go ahead and measure in 8 inches. Now my round armhole measurement divided by 2 is also 8 inches. So from this point that we got our shoulder measurement, I'm just going to go ahead and mark 8 inches and connect the lines together. Now technically, after that, from my shoulder line, I'm going to go ahead and mark my bust point line. The bust point I'm working with is 10 inches. This is 10 inches, and the waistline we are working with is 16 inches. So we have about half of an inch to stitch it back to the skirt part of this top. Now for the neck width, I'll be working with 3 inches. I'm taking the measurement of the shoulder line. Now for the depth of the back, I'll be working with 2 inches. So after marking that, I'll go ahead and connect it. Now connecting this neck width is going to actually be coming out on this zipper allowance part, just like you see me do here. So this is what it's looking like. Now after that, on the shoulder line, I'll come down by 1 inch for our shoulder slope. So I'll connect this 1 inch all the way back to our neck width. Now I'm going to go ahead and divide the remaining armhole measurement that we have, which is 7 inches, into 2. So 7 inches divided by 2 is 3.5. I'll go ahead and mark the 3.5. On the point that I have the 3.5, I'll come in by half of an inch and mark it. Now on this chest line, which is where our armpit line stopped, I'm going to divide my round bust measurement into 4. The round bust measurement I'm working with is 37 inches. 37 inches divided by 4 is 9.25. So from this point, I'm going to mark 9.25 on our armhole line, just like you see me do here, and I'll go ahead and connect it. I'll connect from this point to this half inch that we have here. You can use your curve ruler or your freehand. Then from this half inch to this measurement that we have. Now after that, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do now is to input our body measurement. Now remember that the round bust is 37 inches divided by 4 is 9.25. I'll go ahead and replicate it on the bust point line, and I'll be adding extra 3-inch allowance to this top. So I think that's all I have here. Now for the waistline, we are working with waist 32 inches. 32 inches divided by 4 is 8 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark 8 inches on the waistline and add extra 3-inch sewing allowance to it. So I'll just go ahead and connect these lines that we have here together. So basically this is it for the back piece. Now after that, we'll actually be attaching a dart to this. So you know the normal dart we do is you divide your bust span into 4 inches. So from your zipper allowance line, you'll be measuring your bust span divided by 4 inches. Okay, I'll go ahead and mark it here. Extend the line all the way to your bust point, or you can choose to go above depending on how you want your dart to be. Then on the waistline, you come in by half of an inch on both sides to actually create your dart. So technically for the front piece of this top, I went ahead to fold my fabric into 2. I did not actually cut out the piece because we'll actually be working with extra inches. So after folding your fabric into 2 for your front piece, now at any straight line or any folded edge that you think you can work with that will be enough for your dress. Now you just need a smooth part, just like we have here. To go ahead and divide your waist measurement into 4. Now the waist measurement, remember, we are working with is 32 inches. 32 inches divided by 4 is 8 inches. So from this straight line that I have here, I'm just going to go ahead and mark the 8 inches all the way down to the top of this dress, just like you see me do here. I'm going to go ahead and bring over our back piece. Now, bringing over this back piece we have here, before we work with it, we are going to go ahead and fold in this zipper area that we have here. So we'll fold it in and use our pin to secure it. Now, after folding it in, I'm just going to go ahead and place this back piece starting from this round waist measurement line that we have. So this is what it should be looking like. Now after that, the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do is to cut out only the sides of this top. So technically, after I went ahead to trim out the sides and the edge, I didn't know that the camera was not recording, so I couldn't get it. But I'm just going to go ahead and re-explain what I did. So after cutting out the sides, the next thing I went ahead and do is to mark the width of this neck area that we have at our back part. I don't know if you can see. So I just went ahead to mark it on the fabric with my chalk to create the line. Then I went ahead to fold the neck area of this back piece this way. So I just went ahead to fold it, making sure that the neck width is aligning with what I marked on the main fabric. And I went ahead to pin it down this way. Now after pinning it down, the next thing I went ahead to do was to determine how deep I want the front neck area to be. So for me, I went ahead by 7 inches. So I marked the 7 inches here on the main fabric. Then I went ahead, I used my ruler first to connect the 7 inches all the way down to the neck width of this back piece that we marked. I don't know if you can see, I connected it from here to here firstly. Then after connecting it, I also went ahead to connect this 7 inches all the way down to the end of this waistline that we had, and I just went ahead to cut it out. That was basically what I did. Now opening it up, this is what it will be looking like. So I'm pinning the back piece away from it. This is what our front piece is looking like. So the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do right now is to go ahead and cut out a lining for this piece, and also turn up the skirt area and this top area with a lining piece and iron it out. So basically, after I was done actually joining the lining piece of both the upper body and the down body, this is what I have. Now this is the front piece. So I just went ahead to determine where I want my slit to be. So this is the other side that we had earlier, and this is the other side. So for me, I'm going to be starting the slit that we have from my waistline to my knee line. So from here, I will actually minus 16, that's the upper body. I'll be minusing 16 here, and I'll be placing my tape at my knee line. Now remember that the knee line we are working with is knee 38 inches. So I'll just go ahead and mark 38 inches here. So basically this is where our slit will be starting from, and our joining together will be stopping at this point. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my pin to pin it right side facing each other, just like you see me doing here. in my sewing machine, I'm going to stitch with about half of an inch all the way down to this marked line that we have. So after that, opening it up, this is what we'll be left with, and this is where our slit is going to be. So I'll just go ahead and do that for this front piece. So I was done joining the skirt piece together, just like I told you earlier. This is what it is looking like, as you can see. So I'm just going to go ahead and open press this with my iron. So I'm going to place this aside and bring out the front piece of this top that we are working with. So for the front piece, this is what I had after turning it over with my lining. This is it. So the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do now is to decide which part of the sides that I want to be lapping each other. So for me, I think I want the left side to be lapping with the right side. So I'll just go ahead and place the left pieces on the right pieces this way, just like you see me doing here. So I'll just go ahead and place it together, making sure that the sides are equal. So looking at this, the neck area is not actually giving me an open area, so I'm just going to try and slit it the more. So with this, you can actually go ahead and achieve the kind of neck area you have. Remember, we opened it up by 7 inches, so I'm just going to go ahead and measure 7 inches. Okay, this is where the 7 inches is. So I'm just going to go ahead and join it together with my sewing machine. At the end here, I'm just going to go ahead and stitch it together. After I was done stitching it together, this is what it's looking like. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring the front area that we joined earlier. So I'm just going to place it this way. This is the skirt front part, so I'm just going to place it right side facing each other. So just like you see me do here, I'm just going to place it this way, and I'll use about half of an inch to join this upper part to the skirt part. Then for the back piece, I'll also go ahead and do the same thing that I showed you for this front piece. I already went ahead to add our dart to this fabric, so I'll just bring one part of the skirt part. Now remember to note the place that you notched earlier, that is your zipper allowance part, and I'm going to bring the upper body of the back piece just like you see me do here, and I'll make sure that the neck area is facing the zipper allowance, right side facing each other. So I'll just go ahead and place it this way. I use about half of an inch to stitch it down, and I'll also do the same thing for the other side of our back skirt. After I was done attaching the upper body to our back side, this is what is looking like. So I'm just going to go ahead and place this right side facing each other so that we can attach our zipper to it. So this is just the way it's going to be placed. So I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that the joining part of the upper side and the other side is aligned in this way. And I'm going to go ahead and attach my zipper from the neck to the hip line, then use about the same 1 inch to join these pieces together, because remember the front already has a slit, so we are not going to be having a back slit, so the back is going to be closed. So I'll go ahead and attach my zipper and also stitch it down with about 1 inch. After I was done joining the zipper to this back piece, this is what is looking like, as you can see. So opening it up, I have something like this. So I'm just going to go ahead and input our body measurements to this dress. Now I'm going to bring the front piece that we joined up earlier and place it on the back piece, right side facing each other this way. So at this point, you want to make sure that each sides are sitting equal to the other, just like you see me do here. So the first thing I'm just going to go ahead and do now is to join the shoulders. I'm just going to go ahead and join this shoulder we have here with about half of an inch, and also input our body measurement and shaping up this dress. So technically for the sleeve of this dress, I just went ahead to draft my normal basic sleeve. So the next thing we are going to go ahead and do now is how to achieve our trumpet sleeve. So this is already a basic sleeve pattern. So at the wrist line, which is the full length of our sleeve, I'm just going to go out by 5 inch. Now you can choose to go out by more or less depending on how open you want yours to be. So from that 5 inch now, this measurement we have at our sleeve cap, I'm just going to go ahead and connect it all the way down to the hem, just like you see me doing, in a vertical way like this. So just like you see now, after that, I want it to have a V shape at the wrist area. I'm going to go ahead and come up by 2.5 inches. Now 2.5 inches is actually perfect. It can go for anyone. So if you just want a normal trumpet sleeve, there's no need of coming up. But for me, I want the V effect of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect it all the way down to this starting point. So after that, I'm just going to cut it out. So I'm just going to go ahead and notch the center part. So opening it up, this is what we have, as you can see. So it has given me this V effect that I wanted earlier. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach this sleeve to our shaped dress already, and that will be the end of this tutorial. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also turn on your notification bell to be notified whenever we post a new video. See you in our next video. Bye.